All right, we're back live with part 2 of our segment of the day.
World problems aside.
Yes, I think we did a pretty good job hashing out the world problems.
Right?
You know,
Maybe we're like Bill and Ted's music. It's going to like save the world.
fantastic. That'd be great. That'd be great. Because listen,
our podcast will save the world.
Absolutely. You know what? Like I said, in a couple of months, I'll have all my hours and I'll have some time. Maybe we'll do some road shows. Just endless stuff we could do with this podcast. But we are going to come up with a name. And the next time you hear us, we're going to have a name for our show and a little bit of what we're about. So, but that's next time.
Maybe a catchphrase. Maybe we get ourselves a catchphrase.
Yes, that's fuck. Cheers to that catchphrase. Oh my God, you're going to be the best partner ever. I do have we're talking about. I guess we're going to go into our sports segment. I have a question for you.
Sure.
2 questions for you, actually. Mets and Yankees.
Okay. I'm the Yankee fan, by the way.
Yes, he is. He's the Yankee fan, and I am the Met fan. Question about, are the Mets and Yankees a rivalry? Your honest answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose.
Why do you think so?
It's became one, I think, over the past 5 years-ish.
Okay. Do you think that
it's paid, sort of thing?
Do you think it's more of a fan rivalry, or do you actually think that the Mets and the Yankees go and be like, we got to win this baseball game because it's the Yankees?
A little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah.
My
honest opinion,
I think it's blown out of proportion.
I do too.
I
do too. My honest opinion about the Mets and Yankees is the fact that, and it is just what it is. I literally do not care what the Yankees do as a team. I don't care. Like, when I say I don't care, it's like, not like, oh, whatever, screw you, I don't care. No, it's like those games that we play. Wouldn't you much rather play instead of the Mets play another 3 with Boston and maybe another 3 with Baltimore?
I kind of like it.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I
think it's just another baseball game to me.
It is, but it's a little different.
I look at it from a different perspective than you, though. Now,
well, yeah.
No. The reason being is and I figured this out. Okay. Now, you're not cocky by saying that the New York Yankees are the greatest winning organization ever, right?
Right. Yeah.
How can I be so cocky, maybe, or how can it be so, not thoughtless to say that the Mets are franchises better than the Yankees? Like, you guys suck and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like 27 World Series trophies.
Yeah.
That's more championships than any team in any sport.
Right. We
have 2. Now,
yeah.
The big brother, little brother thing, I don't mind that whole comparison. You guys have been around 100 years. We were born in 1962. You guys are born back in 1903. Of course, you're the big brother. But I would rather spend my time beating the Phillies than having to listen to Pete Alonso and Aaron Judge. And that's great. I do root for the Yankees. That's why maybe it's a little mad. It makes me mad because I find it hard to root for them, because I do root for them because the fans make it hard. I actually do root for the Yankees, Kev. I really do, truly do.
All right, I don't root against the Mets.
Are you happy when they lose?
Maybe sometimes. It depends, right. Because the only reason I say that is because the typical Met fan,
right,
is just so loud and whiny that
loud and whiny.
It gets to a point where it's just like, oh man, they're doing great right now, right?
They are.
And the radio waves are starting to the whole chirping about the Soto stuff is just ridiculous.
Oh, we're gonna get into that definitely.
But the roller coaster that is the Met season, there's a chest pounding moment,
mm-hmm.
and then you're 15 games under 500.
Yeah,
something's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's just it almost feels inevitable.
Right.
I don't. I'm sorry, but
No,
that's
no,
just
no,
how
no.
I feel.
No, there's no reason to apologize because I do
Um,
understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. As a Met fan,
You know,
it's frustrating.
you know.
Now, but I'll be real talk. I'm a Met fan I tell everybody 1976. I watched Dave Kingman hit that home run. I was just hooked for some
Right,
reason.
yeah.
Dave Kingman, whatever. He's the relevant to the story. The Mets up until let's say 2000, I'll use 2022, right? 23 maybe. Up until that point, never in a million years would I have thought that my team was going to come back. Like if we were down 9-2, I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna bother because there's nothing there. Like they're not gonna come back. They could have the best players in the world, and somebody's gonna shit the bed.
Okay.
Okay, now that's my life as a Mets fan. Like the Yankees beat them in the World Series in 2000. I mean, it's just like my life as a Met fan. Yeah. Andy Chavez made one of the absolute greatest plays I've ever seen a Met do in a uniform. They lost that game. Okay. There's just things that have been happening to me as a Mets fan through the years that I've seen that, fuck, man, whatever. What am I doing? But last year was completely different for me. That my perspective on that team completely changed. You know why? Because
They played well.
I didn't like Carlos Mendoza from the beginning because like, who the hell is this guy? I think he took a team of players and just told them, you guys can win. Who's Julio Iglesias? You don't know who that guy. Oh, Jose Iglesias. I don't even know how to say his name. You guys don't know guys like Tyrone Taylor. Like, and I'm not saying these guys are superstars, but
Right.
it's somebody that a coach said, you guys can win. So now all of a sudden, I didn't get on the bandwagon saying, oh, the Mets, no, they're in the NL, they're playing against the Dodgers. They're going through, we're the best, the best, the best. I got caught up in the fact, like, I can't believe where we are right now because I never in a million years thought the team was going to do that. Me and Aiden went to the wild card watch party at Citi Field, Game 3. Now, I can show you video later. Me and Aiden went to watch party. It was great. When Pete Alonso hit that home run, dude, I'm a baseball fan for as long as I am. And we're both big baseball fans. Never in my life have I felt the way I felt when watching him hit that home run. Now, I don't know if it was a combination of Aiden being just as happy as me or jumping up and down or the atmosphere, but that home run to me said, this team is not, we're not 1962 up until 22 Mets. This is a team where we're going to push forward now. All right. And I don't give a shit if we're down 10-0 because you know what? They did that last year. They were down in game. Yeah. Francisco, that again, followed by the Philly series, Francisco Lindor hitting that grand slam. Now, Kev, you as a baseball fan, take the Mets out of perspective for a second. Francisco Lindor could have ran around that bases like a 9-year-old, doing backflips and it's great. One of the second greatest home run in Mets history. He jogged around the bases like he was supposed to do that. Like, what do you guys? So the game's not over yet. I was supposed to do this. Now let's go. That to me, I was like, these guys are different. Pete Alonso's different. Pete Alonso didn't want to go to another team. You know why? Because Pete Alonso's a guy that he's comfortable with the Mets. If Pete Alonso would have got traded to the Chicago Cubs, it might have taken him 3 years to get comfortable. At the end of the day, now look at him. He's having an MVP type season. Okay. Lindor, because Godzilla is Godzilla, that's the only reason why he didn't win the MVP last year. So I think this Mets team's different. And I think the Met fans, instead of looking at you being like, oh, the Yankees suck and Aaron Judge sucks and we're your big shut up and just watch your baseball team. I'm saying for Met fans, I hate listening to Met fans, dude. I hate it. I fight more with Met fans than I do with Yankee fans. Because that whole, yes, we are your little brother. I'll say it. We are. Until we win 27 World Series, we're not going to be the New York Yankees. But we're the 2025 Mets right now. And we're fucking ready to win a World Series.
Alonso's batting 298.
Bro, 302 up until the other day.
Oh, I haven't really plugged into baseball yet.
Okay.
Like I'm usually an all-star break. Like I got my ear to the grindstone, and I'm not really fully into. There's just so many fucking games, man.
No, I agree. You know what? Aiden's into it, so we talk baseball all the time.
Oh, I talk it all day long.
All the time.
I'll watch
fantasy
it
teams.
But it's as far as like really like tuning in and like making it a point to watch, I can't.
Yeah.
Until after the All-Star break.
So he's having this. Look at his numbers.
Yeah.
This is not 53 home run Pete batting 230.
Yeah, better sign him quick.
And I think that they're going to. I think what he's got right now is in his pocket, in his stupid agent's pocket, is he's the highest paid per year first baseman in the league right now.
Yeah.
Not contract wise, but per year he makes the most money.
Right.
Okay. Now he's in a situation right now where he's 30. So you lock him up for 5 years. Don't go crazy. Lock him up for 5 years and give him 25 to 30 a year. It's not going to be a big, huge $700 million contract. I think Pete Alonso's happy with that because I think at the end of the day, if you really want to ask Pete Alonso, he's happy with that baseball team. I think Pete thrives on this and the Met fans going Pete and the way he beats himself up when he makes a bad play at first. He's so into the fact that he's Pete Alonso.
He can't throw the ball, dude.
He's a good first baseman, dude.
He's like Mackie Sasser, dude.
Not that bad. not that bad. Come on. Come on. His defensive capabilities at first base, like you said, watch a couple of Met games. He's a different guy defensively at first base too, dude.
Yeah, man, he's doing what he needs to do.
He went from
He needs to do it for that team to.
Yeah. He went from being big, goofy Pete to when he gets up, he knows he's hitting a home run, even if he doesn't. He knows. But you know what, though? If I don't hit a home run, I am leading the league in doubles. It's like Pete Alonso's leading the league in doubles.
Is he?
Yes, dude. I mean, it's amazing, dude. That's why I like watching him play well. I mean, then you got the Yankee side of it.
22 doubles. Wow.
He's kicking ass, dude. Yes, he did. Watching him barrel into, we watched the game. Watching him barrel into third base and almost tumble into like a backflip, so not poetic, was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life, dude. He hit a triple. It's the greatest thing. I like going to Citi Field and listening to people just scream Pete Alonso.
He's been hit 10 times.
Yeah, they hate him, dude. They hate him.
Oh my god!
Because you ever have a guy in the room that people are making fun of, and he's just so unaware
Dude,
of
that's
how.
like once a week.
Yeah, bro. but the person's so unaware of it that they know that they're just who they are. That there's just nothing else. Pete just thrives on that, dude. Going like the
Dude, how have the Mets not like fought anybody?
I know. I don't know. You know what? And you're right about that, dude. Last year especially.
Like, Dude, it's 10 times in 60 something games.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They breezed them twice last night. The Tampa Bay Rays breezed them twice last night in the head. He got hit in the head. Those hits 4 times. In the last 2 years, he's been hit in the head, Kev. But you know what? Gets back out there and he cranks a home run, dude. Because he's unflappable. He's Pete Alonso and he knows it at this point because, you know what? It's like, as I needed them, the Mets needed me too. And that I was at the game where Vlad Guerrero Jr. signed that huge contract. Yeah. Now, Pete Alonso, watch him, he's happy. He's always dead stare with Guerrero that whole time. Like, he walked, didn't play well, walked for us. Pete just stared at him. Not like an asshole stare, like, it's like, that's right. I'm the fucking first baseman for the New York Mets, not you. You know? And that's kind of like how, I think that's where it took off for him. He's like, he's not worried about a 1-year contract where we might give Vlad 600 or whatever. Right. Vlad signed with Toronto. I'm your first baseman. This is what I can do. And now he's doing it, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely doing it, man.
I don't know if he has any stolen bases either, but he's doing great, dude. He's doing great. And the fact that
0 for 2.
Yeah, well, listen, maybe
he's not
sheds a couple of pounds, maybe. No, he's not. I told you, he rumbled and stumbled into third base on that triple. It was amazing, dude. Barreled.
Yeah. Hit 10 times.
Yeah. But I don't, you know what? I think the reason they try to hit him is because he's a threat, A, and B, because they can, because he's not going to charge them out. He's not that guy. I don't think he's that guy.
Hey, nobody wants to.
I totally
I'm sure some people out there wanted to be that guy.
Love him, dude. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Is beyond me.
I mean, it gets to a point where, like,
yeah,
sometimes you got to.
Do you see the video?
It's like you're getting bullied.
You see the video? Yeah, pretty much. You see the video when Albert Bell got hit
and he didn't want to go?
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Umpire had to make him go to first base.
Right.
It's guys like that. He should be in the Hall of Fame, dude.
To that umpire, man. I would have been like, okay, buddy, you just hit that.
Yeah, go ahead, Albert.
Right.
But, Hall of Fame. Don't let him in because they don't like him. Guy was when he was up, he was a threat every single time he was up.
Oh, dude, he was amazing.
He was every single time. Either he was going to punch you or he was going to hit a home run. Now, guys like that have to be in the Hall of Fame, dude. But yeah, Pete, my point being is, I think Pete, both sides are respecting. Pete's going to get a contract, whether it be mid-season, whether it be the end of the season. He's due to make 34 next year. So lock him up for 35 a year, and let's call it a day and win a World Series or two. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds crazy because you Yankee fans like, oh yeah, win 27. And shut up. But anyway, let's talk about this year.
It's yeah. I mean, that's the spirit, right? That's
yeah.
That's the hope. It's hard. It's hard to win a World Series, man.
It is. It's really hard, dude. Really hard.
Hard to get there. Hard to win it.
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know what they were going to do last year. Under no circumstances, I think Vientos is going to be one of the the all-time NL CS leading hitters ever.
Right.
Now he's shitting the bed, of course, and he might go back to the minors, but they have a plethora of people to come up. So I just think that as Met and Yankee fans, I think we have the same enemy right now, and I think it's the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah. The new evil empire.
That's what I'm saying. But I think we have a common enemy right now, because if not for them, we're playing in the World Series against each other, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and if not for them, you win the World Series, or New York wins the World Series, whatever it was. It was a lot of magic on both teams last year. So you can't go in there saying that who was better than who last year, because you got to take into consideration a lot of the magic shit that happened.
If you guys didn't,
that's what it was.
It was. I remember you walked a lot of guys.
Senga, he came back too early.
Did he just get hurt?
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
Sorry, your bubble maybe your hot air balloon slowly sinking.
Now, not only did Kodai Senga get hurt, Kodai Senga got hurt with an ERA of 1.1. 1.1. No. Like he's an everyday, like he's on every 5 or 6 game starter. Yeah. The best. And now he's hurt.
It's a good run. It was a good season.
Puerto Rican team, the Puerto Rican team, I think, ambushed Edwin Diaz that year. Somebody kicked his ankle out. I think who else was on that team? If you really got to look at that video.
I know that was like a dart to the heart.
Yeah.
When that shit happened, but God damn, that was hilarious.
Like Kodai Senga. It looks like somebody shot him in his foot while he was pitching. It's like, what happened there?
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on? They're not contact. That's what I mean, though. You know what I mean? Like Diaz, he's celebrating.
Yeah,
he's out for almost 2 seasons.
Martin Grammatica.
And he has. And he hasn't come back. He hasn't.
No.
So, Mets just got to keep plugging away, man. That's what they got to do. Now, Lindor, admittingly, Lindor is literally one of my all-time favorite players. Like, he literally, even when he was a Cleveland, and I literally don't really have an all-time favorite Met, to be honest with you. And he probably is because that's who he is. And I liked him when he was with the Indians. And to see him when he put on a Mets uniform, I was so happy. And I do think that right now he's the best shortstop, and he's gotten jacked of Gold Gloves throughout the years, because I think there's something with him. I don't know what it is, but last year he should have gotten at least a recognition for a Gold Glove. He came in 4th place. The kid from the Colorado Rockies won the Gold Glove.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Lindor makes crazy shit happen. So I don't know. There's a little bit of a issue with him. Their pitching has the lowest ERA in majors right now. They're hitting home runs. So my perspective, Kev, is, going back to the Mets and Yankee thing, I want the Yankees to do well because I want to play the Yankees in the World Series. I do. And maybe I want redemption. Maybe redemption's more of a fact that I just think that, F the Yankees, it's more I would like to get redemption.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see the Yankee-Met rivalry a thing, because, like, there was bad blood there with Piazza and Clemens that season and the playoffs. I was at the game he got hit in the head during the regular season, dude. I was sitting in left field. You heard it.
Yeah.
You heard it hit him. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. and
and then the whole bat throwing thing in the World Series.
I said something to somebody the other day, thought it was crazy. If Mike Piazza handles that differently and smashes Clemens in the head with that bat, Mets win the World Series.
Yeah, he kind of showed his belly by not doing it.
I was so disappointed in him as a man and a Met fan.
Yeah.
When he did nothing. No, not even a stare, dude. I mean, a nervous stare.
It was more of a what?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, right?
It's a little toughness in that position.
Yeah, like he won.
He did.
You know,
I mean, a little toughness in that position. Just like, even from a male perspective, if somebody that wasn't watching baseball, doesn't watch baseball, like I got a friend, Steve. Steve's like the ultimate male dude.
yeah,
He's like one of my close friends. He lives upstate to me. He doesn't like baseball. He doesn't like it. He's a hunter. He's a fisher. Like he's like, you look up the ultimate male. I know, Steve, if you hear this, you're going to see a picture of my buddy, Steve. Right?
okay,
If he would be an outsider looking at that game, he would be so disappointed as a man watching the Mets. He's like, he would never even in a million years ever watch the Mets again because he would think they're a bunch of pussies. So that's what I mean. From a man perspective, it's like, I think that's a dynamic where if he confronts Clemens, there might be a different dynamic or a different outcome when the World Series.
maybe win a game.
True. That would have been good. Maybe we would have won 2 games. Maybe.
Yeah.
Still losing that year, though. I'm not saying we were going to
Yes, yeah, but yeah, he showed the belly, man.
He did.
You know, like,
He did. And I didn't like it.
Like they got to start showing their teeth. You know, like your polar bear has been hit 10 times.
Yeah. My
Like, are they at least like hitting people too, or
no, not really.
Oh.
Not really. But I look at the roster, okay? I'm looking at top to bottom, okay? Jeff McNeil, for instance,
Okay.
went at it with Rhys Hoskins twice last year. Rhys Hoskins tried to take him out, turned around, punched him in the face. I don't know if it was like second or third game of the season last year. They had a big fight. And then I think the next game, I think they hit Rhys Hoskins. So I think that was the last time. And that was like last season, game 5, I think. And Rhys Hoskins was the last person that they actually went after.
Okay.
Since then, they've been hit numerous times.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's not a Nolan Ryan that's going to get up and hit on that pitching staff. There's not a Benitez on that pitching staff.
No CC.
Oh, I love CC, dude. CC will forever be one of my favorite pitchers just because he hit that Tampa Bay Ray guy and said, F you. I don't care if I'm losing millions of dollars right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
That was a man move right there.
$1 pitch or something.
But again, Kev, that's a man move right there, dude. Don't hit my players.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like Mets don't have that. Mets don't have Pedro Martinez, who admittingly threw at Derek Jeter's head.
Right.
Admittingly threw at his head.
Yeah.
Said, do you hear that story that where he said that with the whole Zimmer thing? He really wanted to hit Jeter, but he asked Veritek who he wanted to hit, and he mentioned somebody. And then he threw at him, and then the next one, that's when he hit Jeter in the face. He goes, and Pedro Martinez goes, I didn't care what he said. He goes, it was always going to be Derek Jeter. And his point was because he was the man.
Yeah.
And that's why I was going after. I wasn't going after just some random ninth batter.
Yeah.
I was waiting my
Can't
chance.
go after, like Kareem Garcia.
I wasn't going to skim somebody. I was hitting Derek Jeter in the head. And that's what I wanted to do. That's a crazy person right there.
Well,
But you fucked with his team.
yeah.
And maybe he didn't specifically, but you're a representative of the best player on that team right now. So, and I'm going after you. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's
It's like first day in the joint and go punch the biggest guy in the mouth. Yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly. I know how good that's going to work out. It's not going to work out good for me. I can tell you that much. Not too good in jail, so I got to be a good person.
I get it.
I would not do well there. Phew, thank God, let's stop talking about jail. But I mean, and the Yankees have all, the Yankees have never had, correct me if I'm wrong. They've had intermittent tough guys. You know what I mean? Like they've had tough guys that have come through the organization. Like Derek Jeter to me is it perfectly. No, I mean like assassins. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's going to go on the team and, then they're gone next year. I'm talking like, a Strawberry, for instance. Strawberry coming out of nowhere and just knocking out that, what's his name, after the day of the Zimmer fight. And Strawberry's gone next year. You know what I mean? Or like Derek Jeter was involved in scuffles. Derek Jeter was the first one on top of the step. Like to him, he's the exemplary of what a baseball player should be. I really, truly believe that. And that's why I can never be a Yankee hater because to me, Derek Jeter is what a baseball player should be in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Every way.
Stayed clean out of the media.
Yeah. And just his answer. Like, what was most important? Like, I know you got 3,000 hits. He's just winning. He's winning. He goes, when the Arizona, I don't know if you saw the documentary. I loved the Captain.
No.
You never saw the Captain. That's something you got to watch.
I watched it unfold.
Dude.
That's
But it's amazing just watching it because some of the stuff that he says throughout that, or it's said to him, it's like he visibly, like you ask him, it's like, He's like, what is the moment that you remember the most in the history of? He goes, you know what I remember most? He goes, 2000, whatever it was, when we lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He goes, why? Because they asked, why is that one of your memories? He goes, because irrelevant to what I did, winning was the only thing that mattered. If I had a bad game and we won, nothing mattered except for that win. He's like, you know, I'd always be there for whatever I had to do. That's why he's that. No, not a lot of people do that in the NBA or the MLB or the NFL anymore. Everybody wants to be friends. He says that, and he says he didn't have beef with Nomar Garciaparra. He didn't dislike him as a person, but he's like, that was my direct competition in the league as being the best. Yeah. A-Rod, the whole A-Rod thing, everybody blew that up. He's like, he was my direct competition for the position. Now he's going to come to my team. You know what I mean? It's like,
A-Rod was a better shortstop.
Yes, he was. He was.
I hate A-Rod, but he was a better shortstop.
Yeah.
When they got him.
Yeah.
You know, but.
What do you hate about A-Rod? I don't like him either, really. I can take him or leave him.
I think everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Like,
he's a hateable person.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like every time he talks, he just says something like, he's like that person that, you know what he is? He's that guy that, you know, again, I use friend groups as an example, that come in and just say things just to be cool. Like, you know what I mean? Or he'll assimilate just to be cool.
Yeah,
or
he's fake.
He's a fake person, I think. And I think, but he's probably the greatest shortstop that ever lived. Well, I'm just, you know, you could say, I'm just saying, for argument's sake, he's one of the greatest shortstop that ever lived.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Do you think he'd be a good manager?
No.
Never in a million years, right? No. I mean, think of a superstar that would be a good manager.
Superstar player.
Superstar player. Mike Sosa was like a bit player, catcher, a good catcher, but he's a great manager.
No, maybe Pudge.
Yeah, catchers. I think catchers make
the best managers.
And I think the catcher is probably the most important position on the entire, like the quarterback. I think that when you watch, like, that was my thing with Alvarez right now. Alvarez does his homework. He's struggling with the bat right now, but he kind of like does his homework with the hitters. Like, you could always see him talking to the hitters. He's 24 years old. He's not supposed to be like that, but he's always talking to the pitcher, you know. And Max Scherzer is one of the hardest guys to get along with as a catcher, they say. He loved Francisco Alvarez. Said he's just in everything, every conversation, every meeting, but he's just having growing pains at the bat right now. But that's a kind of guy, not him specifically, but a guy that knows the game in and out, that makes a good manager. You know, and it's usually catchers, I think, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. My next question that I have for you is a question about Aaron Judge.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I'm going to ask you to Aaron Judge, right? I wish Aaron Judge played on a different team for this conversation. Let's just say Aaron Judge is an angel, but he's not. He has to catch that ball last year, and I'm not. And I'm not breaking his balls. I am breaking his balls, but I'm not just because he's a Yankee. Okay, I truly, with every bit of me, think that if that was a fly ball 1,000 feet in the air to shortstop, Francisco Lindor is not missing that ball in a million years. No. What happened? Listen, Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. I'm not taking that away from him at all. But what happened to him in that moment? What happened to his greatness at that moment is what I mean. He became human, I guess, right?
I don't think anything happened to his greatness. Dropped the ball at the worst fucking possible time you could ever drop a ball.
Worst possible time.
You know, he fucking Bucknered it.
He did. Know? And I think that caused a string of the Volpe thing and, you know, with the mishap at third base.
Oh, that inning? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the best player in the world made a mistake.
Yeah.
But I think it caused, like, holy shit, Aaron Judge dropped the ball. What are we going to do now? You know, it's kind of like, I think that was a little bit of nerve-wracking for them to see.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Volpe's 22 years old, and he probably looks up to him. He's like, oh, my God, he dropped the ball. You know, it's like, but what is, like, what does he have to do to become like DiMaggio, Mantle, Jeter? Like, is he already there, or what does he have to do?
He's pretty much there. You know,
I think he's light years away, to be honest with you, just from baseball's perspective,
light years
away from being a Yankee great.
I think like after this year, 2 more years of production like this, yeah, he's there, and that's without winning.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the point I'm going to make.
Like, I think he's there already. I think winning just adds to it.
So okay, see, because now, all right. So how many World Series do you think he has to win to be better than Mantle and DiMaggio? Those guys won a lot of World Series, dude.
I don't think those are the right words, man. Like, I don't think you can like say better.
The reason, back to my Yankee fan argument, because that's a lot of Yankee fans' argument is like a lot of the greatest players that ever played baseball, and I do agree, are New York Yankees. And if you look at them, they've won a lot of World Series among them.
Yeah.
So how can Aaron Judge go in there and be like, I have pretty much the same numbers, but you guys have like 6 more championships than me, or you guys have 3 more championships than me? I never won. In other words, like I never won a World Series.
Oh, he's gonna Dan Marino his career.
Yeah, perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, if he never wins one, then it's always going to be a talking point.
Yeah,
it doesn't like diminish the greatness. I don't think it only adds to it.
I think it does. I think it diminishes it a little bit. And I get a lot of shit for this.
I think it makes it less than it could be. Like I said, it adds to it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm a hard critic with the Hall of Fame too. Like I'm a hard critic with the people that say that they're the greatest of all time.
It's like saying like, okay, you're a guy that has 6 World Series wins, but like you're just you batted fucking your 240 lifetime hitter and you did the same in the playoff. Like just because you got rings doesn't.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like it's
you're in Game 7 right now, and doesn't matter the year. You just could take a player when he was at his best. Do you want Aaron Judge or Bernie Williams in center field? I'm talking playoffs. I'm not talking Game 12 of the regular season. I'm talking Game 7 of a very important game. Do you want Bernie Williams in center field or do you want Aaron Judge?
Can Aaron Judge play right?
No, we're going center field. We're going center field. We're going center field, Aaron Judge. Bernie Williams is a winner, dude.
Yeah.
He is a winner.
I guess I'd probably say Bernie.
He's hit some of the biggest home runs, and he's not going to get into the Hall of Fame, dude. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I know. It's
how crazy is that? He's not going to get into the Hall. He gets so overlooked in my book. So overlooked, not by you because you're a Yankee fan, but he gets so overlooked by baseball fans as being an insanely great part of that run for the Yankees. He had big home runs, big catches. When he ran, he 100% at all times, dude. But again, he's not going to make the Hall of Fame, and that's crazy to me. Now he plays guitar and he sounds like Dave Matthews. That's like what he does now. He's great, or a guy like Tino. Let's go Tino. You want Tino in right or you want Judge in right?
Tino?
Not Tino. I'm sorry. What's it? Paul O'Neill. You want Paul O'Neill in right or you want a Judge? Judge isn't hitting water coolers when they suck. These are my crazy thoughts that I have in my head sometimes, Kev. But I want Paul O'Neill in right field. I'll try to get something out of you, Kevin, and you're not getting mad. You're not taking my bait. I
think I'd want Judge there.
I want Paul O'Neill, man. I
look
at it differently.
He's the worst.
And I know I do. It's like I'm starting a team. I'm not starting a team with the so-called greatest player. Like, I don't want for longevity. I would take somebody. I wouldn't take Ohtani. Ohtani can't keep that up he's not pitching again. Like
he's always going to be a fucking sideshow.
He's not the $700 and something million that people were paying him to be. He was going to be a good Cy Young pitcher and an MVP candidate every year for that money. Now it's slowly like maybe I'll be a DH. You know what I mean? And I just don't, that player to me doesn't like that Yankee team. That 96 Yankee team to me, dude, was just an anomaly. You're
Yeah.
not going to find a group of
Yeah.
guys that are just like, those guys didn't play together long, right? They're a bunch. What's his name? It was Charlie, what's his name?
Dude, they would have won the year before. Right.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly more about Montreal, dude. Montreal was kicking ass, and they had a roster of like insane players that year, too. But I think they got screwed more than the Yankees because the Yankees came back next year and won. But that Yankee team was I still to this day, how do you not respect that 96 and 98 Yankee team? Again, they were supposed to do what they did, but not the record wins that they did. They broke the 120 wins by the Mariners. And those are a bunch of guys that just played for their manager. They played for Joe Torre. Was Joe Torre a smart manager, or did people just play for him? I'm not saying that he's not smart. Of course, he knows what to do, but
it was just a great team, man.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of hard not like after like they lost to Cleveland in what 97, right?
yes.
Yeah,
97.
Like after that loss, like that team, like it was hard to fuck it up, man. It was like coaching the Bulls.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They basically like the team knows where they got to be. They know who's playing positions.
Yeah. Like the pitching.
Yeah.
Was incredible.
No, I know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like it was hard to fuck up.
Right. I think back then, I think that's where baseball was different than it is now. Because you want to bring in analytics into the subject now. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know what half the shit is, man.
Yeah. Because the whole coaching philosophy is if all managers went along with, and there's many examples, but I'm going to use one. If all managers had to listen to a computer, let's just say, and say, this guy, Aaron Boone never hits that home run, dude. Aaron Boone doesn't get up and hit one of the biggest home runs in Yankee history because who's that? Because who's that? But that's the thing.
Like that was incredible.
Him having a hunch. Just listen, having a hunch, like maybe he's swinging different in BP that day, or he saw something 2 days prior, or the pitching coach said, look at the way he's doing this. Yeah. Made Torre say, give this guy a shot. Put him in.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, he made great
decisions. Great decisions. But you're not 100%. Yeah, you're not going to be 100% good decisions.
Yeah,
oh, my Lord. I might have been watching it with you.
It was like
I might have been watching that with you. That's when we were hanging out. It's just something that, like, I think a lot of this, like, the computers are good. Like, I want to touch on the pitching lab with the Mets. That's very analytical based. But back then, I don't think there's many hunches anymore. There's not many, I'm going to give this guy a shot anymore. So you're not going to get that holy shit big moment. Like, it drove me crazy when they're trying to say, like, in the bottom of the ninth, Aaron Judge is 3 for 3, so we can sit this person down to get like a carnival hitter, like a runner, and say, oh, this guy's up, he's 0 for 3. Judge hit 2 home runs. Let's just put Judge in instead, like the phantom runner at second. It turns into a carnival game.
It's like,
Yeah, it turns into a carnival game. Yeah,
it's right. So this may shock you.
Okay.
But I don't think Bernie Williams is all.
Okay. I'm glad I heard it from you. I watched him do big moments.
He's got good career statistics.
Okay.
I am aware of all the moments.
Yeah.
It's not the postseason Hall of Fame.
Right.
It's the Hall of Fame.
You're absolutely right. You're right about that.
That's
a good point.
And it needs to start becoming that again, and not the Hall of Mediocre.
And that's what it is.
Not that his numbers are mediocre; they're really good numbers.
It's for greatness, not for. Hey, listen, if you don't get into the Hall of Fame, you shouldn't feel slighted as a player.
It shouldn't be like, I don't know if this ever happens. Like, there's years when nobody gets voted in, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you have to have a certain amount of whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I forget how it works.
Yeah. But there's always an induction, though.
Right. Like, it should be like the Olympics. Like, every 45 years, then, like.
Yeah.
It should be something like that. Because, like, you do this every year. Like, it's like expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the pool's going to thin out.
Yeah.
Competition's going to get weaker. Like, it's just.
When they put
it's just math.
when they put Harold Reynolds in the Hall of Fame, that was it for me, dude. It was it for me when they put him in. Nice player, dude. I like us. And again, as a player in your prospective sport, instead of feeling, you should never ever feel slighted for not getting into the Hall of Fame, because I think it's for greatness, dude. It's for great players, who do great things.
So, like the closer, take the closer,
yes,
right? Closer came around like the 90s,
mid maybe,
right? Relatively new position in baseball.
Goose Gossage tells you that they're all pussies, but
right. So it's 90s was what, like 35 years ago,
roughly, yeah.
And when was the first closer inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Probably when one of the greatest baseball players ever inducted into the Hall of Fame went in. Oh, Eckersley went in, right? Was it Eckersley? Right. I think I'm talking about Rivera. I'm talking about Rivera.
Yeah, I figured.
But it might have been Eckersley.
Okay. I guess that's enough time to actually get a benchmark of greatness,
right,
for a relatively new position. For like, you get a couple of careers out of there and see the anomalies of, obviously Mo, stuff like that. Like soon you're gonna have like the opener in the Hall of Fame. Like you're gonna have to draw these new positions to induct, like to
make somebody feel special,
right?
Which I think that's wrong.
Like I think it should be like the Olympics. It's like every 4 or 5 years.
I do too. Like
voting is open,
but they do it for the party every year. They do it for the people to come to the town. Which is, again, at the end of the day, it's bullshit. It just really is. It's and you're right. I think they should do it every 4 years, because when you're saying this guy might be in one, and sports reporters get them out of there. Get old coaches, get old players, people that played against their peers. You tell me if they're a Hall of Famer. Not because Jim Rice said "fuck you" to a reporter, and now he waits how many years to get into the Hall of Fame. Because
I don't think you can let the players or anybody do it.
That might be a little. You're right. That's personal beefs.
Yeah, like it almost has to be the sports writers. Sort of.
Some of these guys never picked up a baseball bat, dude.
Yeah, but they know the numbers, and it's really.
Yeah, I get way too emotionally involved in the way a person wins as opposed to what their numbers are. And Aiden said that to me recently. Like, I care more about like the whole Montana and Brady controversy, right? I mean, what's the controversy? Brady, greatest of all time. Montana never lost. Never lost.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Jordan. And my argument to these LeBron James guys is, I know it's stupid, but he never lost. He was the MVP every time he won in the finals. LeBron James needs to go all over the place to say, help me out, guys. And again, I understand that the Bulls had a great, I don't want to go into a LeBron Michael thing now, but I'm just talking about the whole greatness thing in general. They don't lose in big spots. Montana never lost in the Super Bowl, dude. He was the head guy. He was the guy. I don't know. It's just I just think that there's got to be something where it comes where you just put yourself into a different stratosphere and put teams on your back.
Montana had to get through Lawrence Taylor all the time too.
That's another thing. It's great giant teams they had to go through. I don't know. Dallas Cowboys.
There was no such thing as match interference back then.
No. And you're right. And Brady, that's why I'm kind of turning my whole thing about going back to Montana, because Brady's, he's great, but he lost.
Yeah, but there's probably no one else you won in 2 minutes or less.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I think that's kind of what tips the scale in his favor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's
a good point.
He was an assassin.
He was. Believe me, I love him. I do. I love him. I'm going to that Fanatics Fest at the Javits Center next week.
All right. Yeah.
Tom Brady's going to be there today. Don't think I'm not going to try and ask him out on a date or something. It's not gay, right? I told you, we've talked about all this before. But just hang out with him, right? I love Tom Brady, dude. He's just right there, and he's so handsome. And did I just say that out loud? But my point about greatness, to make any sense at all, is Montana never lost and Brady did, but I do think Brady's the greatest of all time. But sometimes I contradict my own values of winning.
Well,
It's important.
You're a Jet fan.
You know,
I'm sure that plays into it, whether you think it or not.
Kev, I'm trying, and this is real talk right now for a second. I am trying to figure out a way to get away from that being my team. And I'm having a real hard time with it because my whole thing,
Away from the Jets?
I can't, but that's the thing, I can't do that. But for my thought process, my house, even my nephew is 10 years old now. He watches sports. He's great at sports. He even knows that he's going to be 11 July 23rd. If he doesn't say who his 3 favorite teams are in the 3 sports, he's opposing. He knows that. That's the rule in my house. Okay. Aiden knew the rule. Jack watches sports. Jack, that's the rule. You can't go back on your team, especially if you're a fan. I'm a Mets fan. Misery. Jets fan. Misery. The Jets do give me zero pleasure. Zero. I can't watch them. I don't, when they do good things, I can't, because good things obviously don't equate to anything. They get steamrolled by, they're the worst. I'll fight off all fans of my Mets. I love my Mets. But when somebody says to me, the Jets suck, I'm just like, oh, they fucking suck. They do. I can't defend them. The organization, the players, everything about them, I can't defend. Having a rough time with it.
Yeah, hey man. I was in the doldrums of the NFL for quite some time.
I want to talk about your team for a second, and we'll get after the Jets. We'll get to your team.
You need a new owner.
But that also doesn't always translate.
Well, it did work for us.
I did, but you know what though? You know what? Teams have to be lucky enough to have a billionaire that's into sports, not a billionaire that wants to add it to his portfolio.
Right.
And there's a lot of teams that do that. I'm super lucky that Steve Cohen is one of the biggest Met fans that ever lived, and he's a multi-gazillionaire.
Yeah.
And he's,
But I mean, you could also get like the James Dolans.
True.
Billionaire into sports.
Or your old owner, Schneider.
You really, yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones thinks he's the GM. I mean, come on. Yeah. That is without a doubt their downfall. They can't get out of their own way. But they win more than the Jets.
In the 90s,
I hate the conversation when I hear people say that are football fans say, well, it's really not that bad. The Jets have been in the playoffs. The Jets haven't won a Super Bowl since I'm born. I'm old. I'm 50. I'm 53. Yeah. I've never seen the Jets in a Super Bowl even play. I know. And you might get a fourth this year.
Soon to be four. I don't know if it's this year.
Kev, I was pulling for the Commanders. I don't know what you call them because you're a real fan. Okay, so I will address them as the Redskins.
We'll be that again with it.
I'll address them to you as because I know you're not a Fugazi fan. You're a real fucking Redskins fan, and I was rooting for them so bad. The reason being is no rookie quarterback has ever brought their team to the Super Bowl in their first season. That kid, he looks so calm. He looks so comfortable. And he didn't even have Debo Samuel. He's got Debo Samuel to throw the ball to now.
Yeah, and hopefully Terry McLaurin.
I saw that this morning. What's going on with him?
It's just contract shit, I think.
Yeah. You think he's going to come back, though?
Yeah.
He'd be dumb not to.
Yeah. I think he's done this before.
Has he?
Yes. Yeah. But it's business,
It is.
Like, I don't think it's anything other than business. It's not like he wants out.
Right. Like, I mean, sometimes players use that as a ploy, I would assume, right? They use that as a ploy to get out of there.
Yeah. He's underpaid. He wants more money.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
And it's such like a rippling effect, like when you think that these players get too much money and they have too much power. But yet I don't care about the money because I'm going to watch. I'm going to buy the jerseys. I'm going to buy the hats. So I don't care how much money. Like if Steve Cohen wants to turn around and give Pete Alonso $9 billion, I don't care. He's got it. Yeah. But I'm still going to go to the games. I know I'm contributing. Yeah. So you're not telling me nothing I don't know. So I don't care about like that. But what I'm saying, but that if it gets so, I'm just saying $9 billion is a lot of money. But when it gets to a point where it is super unaffordable, then it's like, oh, whatever. But for the time being, I'm not going to complain about how much money they're getting because I contribute. On that end, I think that the amount of money that the players are getting makes it hard for managers because now you get these players or coaches. Why there's a rash of players and coaches literally having fistfights on the sidelines? because you're making 10 million and the coach is making 2. Who are you to tell me what to do? I'm a superstar. You know what I mean? It's like, and then that aspect of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just the quality of people you're letting into a league. Like character. You should,
Yeah.
those are important.
Very important. Do you think character messed up Shedeur Sanders?
No, I don't think it was a character thing. I think he's just got like it's more of a work ethic.
Mm-hmm. Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm so hot. Every time the Jets would pass over him, I wanted the Jets to get him so bad.
Really?
Now, yes, and let me tell you why. Because what I just told you before,
I think he's very important.
I don't know. I think I'm not going to tell you wrong. I'm not going to, because neither of us know, because none of them have ever taken a snap in the NFL. I just have a feeling he's going to be good. And I like his dad. Not many people do. I like his dad. And I think his dad's heart's in the right place with the Colorado Buffaloes right now. I think he's, but there's also an aspect that you could deal about with Deion getting involved with his son. Mm-hmm. I wanted that for the Jets because it's nothing like they've ever seen before. If Deion traipses in there with his prime time and Shedeur and the kids, and it's like Hollywood all of a sudden, I don't care what the perception of my team is going to be because it's different than the perception it's been for 50 some odd years. So maybe it might work. Maybe this flashy guy might work. I don't know.
It's such a distraction.
It is.
It is. Like
so what's been distracting the Jets for 54 years, 55 years?
It would just blanket the fucking news, sports news, and sports talk. Like it would just be constant.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
It would be way worse, I would think, man.
I think it might be, yeah. I think it might be way worse.
Yeah, like no thanks.
So then how about you just take the media completely out of the locker rooms?
The locker room wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
You'd be tweeting something dumb every day.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. That's another thing that's you just brought up a good point about them tweeting. Like your boy Jazz Chisholm got in trouble.
How did he? What did he do?
He said a couple of weeks ago he got thrown out of the game. Wasn't a while back. Thrown out of the game, had to leave. He did something. It was stupid, whatever. Goes up into the booth and starts talking about it. Starts tweeting about it. He got a lot of trouble for that.
He was up in the booth?
He went up to the booth. He stopped in. He started talking to the guys. Of course, Josh Chisholm knocks on the door. Of course, they're going to let him in.
Yeah. Okay.
He's supposed to be out of the dugout. Goes back downstairs, starts tweeting. It's bullshit. Empires suck or whatever. He got in trouble for that. It stipulates in his contract that players are not allowed to use social media outside the dugout while they're playing. He got kicked out of the game and he left the dugout. And then he got in a little bit of trouble for it, but nothing happened. But the stigma on him now was like, look at this jerk going around complaining. But it was really bullshit, the call. And the umpires need to hear stuff like that. So now I'm an outside source. Now I'm tweeting because I'm allowed to tweet.
Right. Yeah.
There you go. That's how I feel. I don't know. That's where the double-edged sword comes, because you got these phones now too where the players are betting as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's crazy with these, with the young players now.
Yeah.
I know I just threw two things at you, but it's kind of similar the way they are perceived. Social media, it's crazy. It's killing everything, man. But it's a necessary evil, though. It's a necessary evil, though. Like, look at us right now. We're talking, trying to get our opinions out there. This is social media driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't do the Twitter thing. I don't do like Instagram. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm a voyeur on Facebook.
Okay. No, it's cool. A lot of people are.
I don't interact, but like, I'll pop on just to.
Yeah.
Because it's like daytime soap operas.
Exactly.
I just don't get it.
You know what Twitter's amazing for? I'll tell you what Twitter's amazing for. When I was taking the train, right, and I'd have a shitty day, be fighting with somebody at work, or my day was just shit. I'd get on the train, I'd sit down, I'd pop open Twitter, and I would just see like somebody posted something completely ridiculous. And I would just start fighting with them. 2 hours of pure fucking getting anger out. And you know what the great part about that is? Pull into my train station, says, bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's it. It's over. And then I go and there's like 100 responses like, where'd you go? I want to kill you. It's like, you stirred up a hornet's nest and I'm fine, but you're not, That's fun. That's what Twitter's great for, dude.
I do have to admit, I've done that on Facebook a couple of times.
Yes.
Idiot cards.
You know what? 'Cause you don't give a shit what people say about you. Other people do. I call it carrying around a can of gasoline. I do it all the time. I carry gasoline all the time because your response to me is no way going to affect me. So if you wanna hash it out, I got no feelings, dude. I told you I left him in an apartment building in 1978. Got no feelings. So I'm a hard person to say stuff like that too. So I'll throw gasoline sometimes when I feel like somebody's being completely ridiculous. And that's how I kind of like weed people out when they're really being ridiculous. Some of the stuff is, you know. Nice. There you go. It's sunny on the roof, bro. I'm working hard. The sun does shine in Harlem. It does. It does. And there's awesome people in the neighborhood. Oh my God, the homeless, crazy people are amazing. I give this guy 50 cents every day just because he walks funny. And he asked me, but whatever. I'm getting off topic here. But
yes, so what else we got here? We're talking Jets, right?
Yes, we're talking Jets. I reluctantly talking Jets, but yes, the Jets have nothing, Kev. And they have nothing, dude. You know why? Because they had something last year and they did nothing with it. Sauce Gardner. Everybody, again, I know it's a very unpopular opinion. I would have traded him last year and packaged him to get something good. I think he's not a leader. He's a pro. He wouldn't tackle anybody the last 8 games of the season last year. He had 1 interception in the last 10 games. But he's supposed to be. That's what he is. He's Sauce Gardner. You know where his name comes from? He covers you like sauce. He wasn't covering shit.
I thought it was because he liked sauce.
He covers you like sauce. That's what he said. You know, Breece Hall. What happened to Breece Hall?
I mean, you got to get like some quarterback stability, man.
And never we've ever had a quarterback that was ever something to talk about.
Like, it's huge. You need quarterback stability.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. That's never been.
You need coaching staff stability.
I think the only franchise that has more quarterbacks is the Cleveland Browns than the New York Jets. It has to.
The Redskins have.
Really? Oh, maybe.
Because we went through
like
good 20 years.
I keep forgetting you guys are in your
3 or 4 a year.
Yeah. Like you guys are in your like glory right now, dude. They're gonna. I almost want to put money on them.
I'll tell you that.
I want them to win the World Series, the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
Even if they're playing the Jets, I'm gonna be rooting for the Redskins.
I didn't want them to make the Super Bowl last year.
Why?
I had too much success too early for the kid.
That's a good question. Does he need to gain weight?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
He's put on a few pounds. He's pretty. I mean, he is skinny, but he gets skinny on the sideline, which
he does. Like he did amazing things last year, and
like,
he throws the ball like 100 yards. Especially when he's got a step while he's running, he can throw that ball 200 yards if you wanted to. Oh God! And on the money too.
Yeah.
When have you seen a rookie quarterback hit receivers on the money for 60 yards? Come on. It's so nice to watch, dude. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
So jealous. But
dude, I think they had like 3 games, 0 turnovers, 0 punts last year.
It's great.
0 punts.
I don't know.
0 turnovers, 0 punts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. And that's because, and also I think if I'm not mistaken, they went for it on 4th down the most in the NFL.
I think they did.
And then their percentage was the most in the NFL for making it. That kid could take off at any minute. Any minute he could take off, and he's leaping over people. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, that's why you say you never know. Like this kid in Chicago, he was supposed to be the best.
Yeah.
And now you find out he's a little whining bitch.
Well,
who admitted it? He admitted it.
Bro paints his fingernails,
Yeah.
That should be the first sign.
So Jaden Daniels being the best out of that group so far and not telling everybody he is the best out of that group so far. Mm-hmm. And what's his name is, going through shit about his dad talking about.
If you have to tell it, then you're not.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, again, another quote from Tom Brady. He said that same thing. He said that same thing. I shouldn't be a guy because of I shouldn't have to tell you. I shouldn't brag about my Super Bowl wins. They just happened. You know what I mean? Whereas I know obviously it's a big deal and it's topics of conversation, but I'm humbled by that because the fact of the matter is like winning is the most important thing in my life. Like Derek Jeter said, it's the most important thing in their lives. And that shows. You know what I mean? And that's what he said about the Super Bowl trophies are better than the MVPs. They're better than this. They're better than I'm the best player. The Super Bowl means that your whole team was the best that year. And that's the most important thing for a lot of these guys who are winners. Yeah. Bird said the same thing too. I mean, Bird had fun with his like little, jokes and stuff, but at the end of the day, he would win at all costs, dude. If it meant punching Hakeem Olajuwon in the face because he was talking shit about him, then he's going to do that. So, and those guys are just different, and those guys are different to me. Yeah, back to Aaron Judge, I don't think he's punching anybody in the face.
Yeah, he's not.
No, he's not at all. He's not at all.
It'd be great if he did.
That to me would be the best thing I've ever seen.
Because he did get ejected from a game last year, right, for the first time.
When you say darn tootin',
right, and then went on a tear.
I know.
So maybe one day he'll charge the mound and he could, hopefully the pitcher's not wearing white.
Bro, could you imagine that guy charging at you and being mad?
Right.
Any other player, it's a fight or whatever. That guy charging at you?
Holy shit.
No way. Imagine David Peterson hits him and he just gets mad that day. David Peterson looks like a schlub. He's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong, but him and his little belly and his beard, Aaron Judge is going to kill you if you hit him. That's the thing, maybe what he has to do to become tough. I don't know. I don't know. You watching this at all?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I got to learn how to play, but
yeah, it's for me. It's a hard watch.
It's a big betting thing.
Yeah, it's becoming that, huh?
Well, everything is the FanDuel and stuff like that. Before we, like I said, I got one more thing I really wanted to ask you. Hold on one second here. Let me look at this for a second about sports before we get out of here about the sports. We'll talk about the Wu-Tang Clan being one of the greatest bands that ever lived on our next show, because that's a big conversation. So one more question I had to ask you. The pitching. No, I think I covered everything. Kev. Anything else you want to go over?
No, I'm good. Like I said, I'm not really into baseball yet.
All right.
Basketball's over.
No, basketball is over. It's amazing.
Hockey's, is it still going? I always lose track whenever the Rangers fall out. I'm just like,
it's one of those things that I feel like I do things on a daily basis. Like I feel like I do man things. I'm a manly guy, right? But I feel very emasculated when I say I don't know anything about hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know the players. I don't watch it. Not for that. I feel very emasculated when I say I just don't understand. I don't watch it. I don't know. You guys go, what do you mean you don't watch hockey? It's like, oh my God, I have to start watching hockey.
It's a good watch. It's probably the best thing to actually go see. You ever been to a hockey game?
Oh yeah, I've been to a lot of hockey games. I used to go to the Islander games all the time. That's why I'm an Islander fan. My father used to take me to Islander games all the time.
Yeah, probably the best thing to go see as far as action.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I used to go to the policeman fireman games. I used to go to a lot of Islander games because my dad had a connection in Nassau Coliseum. But then I stopped watching hockey after 1982 because that's the last time that the Islanders were good. 4 cups in a row. I peaked at 8. I was 8 years old. Was it 72? Yeah, I peaked at 8. I was a fair weather fan. I was looking for a team because I was telling somebody, I was like, can I jump on a bandwagon? Because it's been so long that I've actually watched hockey. But then I had to say, you know what? I said, I like the Islanders. They're going to be good one day. So I don't know. So hockey, I don't really, I don't know. I know I did watch the game the other night that one of the greatest hockey games they said ever. Edmonton came back and they won it in overtime.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Crazy. But that's the extent of it.
Yeah. Playoff hockey's a different animal too, man.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing to watch.
Yeah. And I said that, you know what? I said the same thing about the NBA, about there's nothing like the NBA playoffs, but I find myself that's stupid to say because I could care less about the championship right now. You know what I'm saying? I could care less about the Pacers and the OKC. It's good to watch, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas hockey fans are like, hockey games on. They're fans, dude. Hockey fans are fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they come from weird groups too. It's like, you like hockey? It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, I didn't even think you watch sports, dude. It's like, yeah, I can tell you this, that, and the other thing. So, and that's another thing with sports too. You ever go to I was telling somebody this the other day. You ever go to like a meet, like, with kids or something, and like you have to meet other parents?
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, I remember those days, of course. And there's one thing that you could always pick out on a man. We always bring up sports. If I've never met you before, and it's like, my wife's dragging me here. It's like, I got to meet this new guy or whatever. It's like, see what kind of fan he is, in sports. So we
Right,
talk about sports. But the minute you tell me that you're not into sports, it's like, nothing to do with you.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like the language. Because you know how many times where I looked at somebody and I'm like, go say hi to this guy. And I'll make a Mets comment just to throw it out there, and he just jumps into the conversation. It's like, that's awesome. That's an awesome icebreaker. Sports.
Yeah.
For men. And that's pretty much what we're doing now, talking sports.
Yeah, like if you can't, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. And I think that's why we take our teams so passionately. And I think that's why we take the players so passionately, because we have no direct influence on the outcome of that game. Because how mad we get at our players for making an error or for missing a foul shot. It's like we take that because we have zero input on how that person's going to play. But that's why I think we take it so passionately. And why we're so mad. I'm not getting on the court and shooting that free throw, but I want you to. But I want you to.
But you did as a kid.
Yeah.
Yes. And
yeah.
It carries through, man.
How many times our fandom as adults and our fandom as kids going from, all right, it's the bottom of the ninth, bases, you're 9 years old, and it's like, and you get a chill because you go back and like, with most men, like that's definitely common ground. Just the point I'm making is like most men could go back to a moment in their lives where sports either A, played a big deal or made you very happy or very, very angry.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Because most of the wives don't like to talk about it, but it's something we could talk about that they really have no input on.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that and
most wives didn't really, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but they didn't like play competitive sports, I feel.
Yeah. Listen, some have. That's an anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I feel like 90% of the husbands probably did.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like maybe 60% of what.
Yeah.
I don't know. Get fact checked.
And again, that's another difference between men and women. When we went back to we were originally talking about is men will compete over who opens that bottle quicker. Women don't give a shit. You opened up that bottle, I don't care. Men, I'll look at you and be like, yo, how fast can you open that bottle? You'll instantaneously, and we'll just jump so you can do it fast, just because it's a competition among men.
Right.
And that's why, and again, that's why we're just we're physically stronger. We go to wars, like we protect the streets, but you're just different. Doesn't mean men are better than you, but we're different because realize that you guys are smarter and more rational than we are. That's why I don't get myself in trouble, but there's most men fight wars. Most men are presidents. Most men are CEOs because they make decisions based on instinct, not on rationality. And a lot of times,
slippery slope here, buddy.
No, what I'm saying is, but I was about to make a point about my wife because there are women in this world that have that competitive edge. Because I was going back to that. Well, my wife is one of the most competitive people I know, dude, and she's one of the most like if she needs to be. But then she could also, say, whatever it is, what it is. But there are women that feel that way too, because that's why we can't umbrella everybody into the same category. Like all women are like this, but the physicality is normally true.
Yeah.
Mental stuff is, whatever. It all depends on how you were raised and stuff like that. But the physicality of some of the stuff we have to do mentally comes with being a man. After we just destroyed, a whole gender, which I might have to edit that out, being that we're live. I'm hoping nobody's listening, but I think I was like, but yeah, man, that's about I don't know. That's about all I got to say about that for now. I do want to say though, like this is cool. We got to do this. Like, we got to try and do this once a week. You think? Or no?
Yeah.
Once every 2 weeks. Once every 1 week. Weekends, mornings. I like mornings.
Yeah, I think I'm probably next weekend might be a little jammed up.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's fine. Whenever you can.
Yeah,
I'll be. Yeah, oh no, I am too next week. So, but we'll figure it out.
More than once for sure.
You know what though? Well, whatever we say, like this is going to be it. We're going to do something. It's going to be me and you. We're going to come up with a name. I'm going to put it out. Kevin doesn't use social media.
I do.
Whatever.
But I don't. You know,
I'll put it up on my TikTok. You know,
post or tweet.
Let's Talk 1972. I'll put it on Instagram. It's worth a conversation. And my YouTube channel, me and Kevin are going to discuss if we want to start another one. But right now, you can find this on Keep Talking 365 at YouTube. And that's where you're going to get all your updates and stuff. So, Kev, this is fun, dude. Yeah. Give me a pound. And now I'm going to tell you all about the house in South Carolina. That's for the next episode. Nice. All right. See you later, guys. Yeah, that was fucking fun, dude. I think we offended some people.
Yeah, hey, got to offend somebody, man.